lawyers find these these fucking
Listen, man,
podcast
I'm
episodes.
meowing. Like, what
Meow.
are they gonna do? Not hire me because I like cats?
Not hiring you because you're a cat boy.
No.
Anyways. Oh god.
I
Anyways,
wanna go home.
welcome back to the Burnout Kids podcast. I'm Emma.
I'm Spook.
I'm Jess.
And it's November, which
Oh,
means
I'm gonna cry.
it is Nano Month.
It's NaNoWriMo! And if people don't know what NaNoWriMo is, it's National Novel Writing Month. You have to write
50k.
50k words.
You have to write 5 words.
5 words.
I
You
did
can do
it. Once upon a time,
This is the
upon a time. Yeah, that's fine. That's
time
5.
of the year where I simultaneously hate myself and have the best time in the world.
Hold up.
There's no in between. I'm sorry to tell you that.
Yeah, there's no in between.
That's just the life of a writer, though. Like, that's just, I feel like that's just how it is.
I'm gonna open up my NaNoWriMo so I can tell you when I first started doing National Novel Writing Month.
My first one was April of 2018. And I remember I told my friend, I was like, hey, make sure I meet my word count every day. Like, I'll send you a message when I finish it, and if I don't, like, I don't know, harass me or something. And then I like, halfway through, I messaged her, and I was like, hey, so I threw up multiple times. I'm not going to be writing tonight. And she's like, yeah, that's no worries. And then I didn't write the next day. And then I didn't write the next day. And then I wrote probably 3,000 words per day.
Question: how the fuck do we
To
keep
catch up.
bringing vomiting back into podcast episodes?
Yeah, how does that keep
Like,
happening?
This is like every episode we've talked about vomiting at least once.
You guys have
Like-
stomach problems, that's why.
Yeah.
It's all you've ever
I'm on my
known.
hot girl, I'm on my hot girl arc where I just throw up constantly.
I first joined NaNoWriMo in May of 2015, and I believe I did start in 2015, but I didn't track it. Or it was the old website, and I don't think any of the old website things moved over. So the first one that I ever tracked on the new site was in 2017. And
And then
I
Emma's
failed
sitting here. Emma's sitting here going, yeah, I don't do this. I'm not a psychopath.
Well, no, when I was, how old was I when you got me to start? It's like 16, 17. You convinced me to do it with you one year, and I managed to get through about like half the month, and then eventually went, I don't want to do this anymore. I was like, yeah, because like for me with writing, it's like, well, having a schedule helps me a lot. At the same time, it's like when I'm doing writing and stuff like that, if I get any sort of writer's block, being on a schedule just stresses me out. That's all it does. It just stresses me.
Who needs to be on a schedule. I used to wake up early to write.
Like being like I said, being on schedules really helps me. Like with this podcast, because we have a set day for when it uploads and everything, it helps me to get everything done and make sure things are continuously going out at the right time, the right day. So like it does help, but it's just for writing, it doesn't.
I would also like to let the listeners know that Emma is like the best person to work with for a podcast.
Also, I'd like to say Emma is saying
thank you.
Emma is saying how she's working on a schedule. It is currently Thursday, the week before the podcast, like the week of the podcast releasing, like the next episode coming out. She's been working on it today.
Hey, I finished
Not
it.
finished. She's
Yeah, it is. I finished it. I finished it right. That's why I joined the VC. I was done. I just need to. I exported the audio. I just have to export the video. But I said I would do that after we recorded because that takes like an hour, whereas the audio takes about 2 minutes to export. So don't you worry. That episode is ready to go.
Slandering Emma now.
Don't you worry. I got it ready.
Can stop being slandered now.
I had it planned out that I was going to work on the podcast today because I knew today was going to be the one day I was actually going to have time to do it.
I love editor Emma. I want to say this. I love editing Emma. Editor Emma. But I love also really putting so much slander on Editor Emma.
Well, Jess, I don't know if you saw in our Discord, but Editor Emma has been making appearances now. If you guys listen to the episode from our last episode, the third episode, Editor Emma is making some new appearances. Don't piss her off.
See?
She will make comments.
Editor Emma, please stop.
Editor Emma, I love you very much and you're doing amazing, sweetie.
You're doing amazing, sweetie. Anyway, it's
Anyways,
my
back to
first
writing.
year.
Yes.
It's my first year that I haven't been actively writing because it's my first year with a job and figuring shit out in my
Yay.
life. So it's not like I have all the time in the world to just sit down and write like I used to and what I did before.
It's so sad though that like there's really no time anymore to write.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard to be creative these days.
Like, I think last year might have been like, we're like, aha, look, we have like all the time in the, like right before the pandemic, we're all like, oh yay, we have all the time in the world. And then I think what this year, it just kind of hit like, wow, we don't have all the time in the world.
Wow, I have no time to do anything.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I feel like it's because during the pandemic, everything was closed, everything was shut, everyone was at home. So we're like, yeah, you got all the time. Like, you don't have to go anywhere, you don't have to do anything. Where it's like now, people are getting vaccinated, we're starting to be able to go out and do stuff again. Like, we're going back to work and whatever.
Vaccinated.
And now it's just we don't have time to do stuff. So I feel like that's part of the reason why when I write really late at night. Because one, for some reason, I always find that I get the most creative late at night. But two, it's the only time I ever really have to work on stuff is like later at night because I'm just doing stuff throughout the day. Plus two, it's quiet in my house late at night. So then it's like I don't have to worry about distractions or anything bothering me while I'm writing. So I always find myself writing at like midnight, 1 a.m, somewhere around then.
I used to write like last year when we had the bet going on. Like, not a bet, it was more of
the slap bet.
Oh my god, I haven't slapped you yet, Emma.
No, you haven't. It's been a year and you still haven't slapped me.
It's been a year.
Explain the bet.
Can I explain it?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, last year, I don't remember exactly what it was, but you were trying to finish writing something, I think.
It was my NaNoWriMo from last
so you
year.
were just trying to get your word count, and you were explaining to me how you're, like, you sometimes have trouble getting to your word count because you kind of give up. And I know you had just been watching How I Met Your Mother, and you had been, like, obsessed with it.
I always watch. I watch it every
and a
year.
thing that's in the show is the slap bet, where it's basically whoever loses the bet, the winner gets to slap them. And I knew if I said to her, if you do this thing, you can slap me, like, we'll do a slap bet, I knew it would get her to do it, because I don't care. I'm fine with her smacking me. It's fine. I don't mind. Like, it's just like
it was a nice incentive, and she knew.
It was just it was an incentive that I knew would get her to do it, and I was right. She did it.
I was perfectly fine with being like, okay, you can slap me.
Yeah,
but I have.
She still hasn't done it yet.
When I slap her, I want to say. I want to tell her afterwards, I'm like, Emma, it's okay. It was for the slap.
No,
so
if you do, I'll know if you do it, I'll know exactly what it is.
I'm planning on doing it at such a random point. I've had times where I'm like, I really want to slap Emma, but I'm like, it's not the right time.
Well, it's because a lot of times when we see each other, I'm also driving, so like, not the best time to be slapping me.
What if I just slap her right now?
I think right now is a good time to see if we fly off the highway.
I was thinking that. I was just thinking, what if I slapped her in the middle of the highway?
We would die. That's what would happen. But anyways, so basically I used it as an incentive because I knew it would get her to finish, and she ended up finishing, getting to her word count, and I was like, great, you can slap me.
What was it?
She could choose the time. I don't care when.
I think it was at least 30k or 35k-ish, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get all the way, but I wanted to get to a certain point, and I told Emma, and she's like, if you do it, you can do it. And it was the last day too.
And I didn't finish mine last year.
I didn't finish, but I got to where I wanted to be. And I can actually pull up the word count right now in my thing. Hold on, let me get it.
For mine last year, so November of 2020, I started writing, and I got to, like, I think it was around 25k words. And maybe last month, I listened to my playlist that I made for that story, and I was like, wow, I really want to read my story again because I really liked it. And so I wasn't gonna read the whole thing, but because it was late at night, but I ended up reading it all. And then I got to the end and I was like, bro, I didn't finish. I want to know what's the ending.
You're just like, I want to know.
Where's the rest?
I want to know the ending to my own story.
God, how will I ever know?
To be honest, I never, like, when I start writing, I never have a plan. Like, I have a vague idea of, like, this is how I want to start. This is the bit in the middle. This is kind of how it ends. How we connect them? No idea. So I just kind of go in and start writing, and, like, the world just kind of builds itself, and, like, the characters do their own thing. It's really hard to explain.
No, but that's how I write, though.
Yeah, but it's really hard to explain what I mean by, like, the world just builds itself and the characters do their own thing if you're not a writer. Because, like, if you are a writer, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. But, like, if I just said, yeah, I don't control my characters, they just do whatever, people are like, the hell are you talking about?
Can I, like, describe, can I, like, read off the things that Nano has, like, the planner, pantser?
I think I'm the pantser.
The plantser? Because I feel like that would be a lot easier for people to understand if they never heard of Nano, to understand how we are as writers.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So, there's the planner, which is so much preparation. Of course, like you have an outline, you have notes, you have, like, characters ready to go. And then the pantser, you start with a blank document. You throw yourself in there. And then the plantser is literally a mix of the pantser and the planner. So, like, you have this idea.
Okay, maybe I'm that one, actually. I lied.
You have, like, it's a mix of, so this is what they say. On November 1st, you'll start with a comfortable mix of improvisation and a loose structure. So, like, you know what you're doing. Like, kind of know what you're doing. Like, you have an idea.
I'll have my characters made, and I'll have an idea of the plot. But other than that, that's pretty much all I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I did with this one. The one I was talking about before. What I got 32,000 words, and I don't know if this is the one I edited or not, but it has 32,000 words. I ended the book when I stopped writing with a but. I stopped mid-sentence.
That sounds like you.
Just stopped mid-sentence.
That's actually what I do while writing. I will, like, when I'm done writing, I'll stop mid-sentence. Because, for me, it's a lot easier to pick up, like, to keep writing when it's halfway through a sentence. Because I don't have to think, like, oh, how am I going to start the next sentence? It's like, I've got a sentence already here, just keep writing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't open this, so I left this document in November last year, and I was like, okay, November's over, need a break. I opened this up again on Christmas of last year, was it? Yeah, last year. And I was like, okay, let's write. We took a little bit of a break, and I looked at it. I'm like, what was I gonna say? What do you mean? It was just, I'm just gonna read a few words of this. We had left the walls of the camp, but... But what? What do you mean, but?
We had left the walls of the camp, but... Huh.
What do you mean, but?
Just add another T onto that.
Yeah, walls of the camp, but...
Like, oh yes, but what? I remember, I mean, right now I'm reading this paragraph over. Don't know where I was going, don't know who I was... I don't know.
Don't know where you're going, but...
Shut the fuck up. Oh my god. It was...
like, for me, for my writing and stuff, like, it's like, I will either hear a song, or I'll see, like, some piece of art or something. It could be, like, straight up, I just see a painting, and suddenly I'm like, this is an entire story right here, and I'm going to write it. And I've got this entire plot in my head. It's like, I know exactly what the start of it's gonna be, I know how I want it to end, and I know, like, the things that are gonna, like, motivate the characters to, like, go on and, like, important plot points and stuff. And I usually know, like, the first couple of characters, but I don't know how I'm, like, gonna connect everything, so I kind of do, like, what Spook does, where it's like, I know the start, so I'm just gonna start writing and just see where it goes. And a lot of times, like, like there, like you guys know, like in high school, that story I had started writing, almost it was like, remember how
you remember? And it breaks my heart.
Listen, I was actually just thinking about it the other day. Anyways,
Listen,
so in high school,
there's a character named Colin in it, and I love him.
So
that's all you need to know.
So in high school, I think I was 16 or 17 when I think I was 17 when I started writing this story. And I got super, super into writing. It was like every single day. If I wasn't doing work, I was on my phone writing it in Google Docs. Like I would literally just be sitting there typing, just going at it. And hang on, did I open it? I have it somewhere here. I'm going to see if I can find the document because I think I ended up writing nearly 20 chapters of it. I'm gonna hang on. Just really quickly, just gonna look it up. Cause I know, yep, there we go. There it is. I remembered what the title of it was.
I was just about to bounce in and be like, here's another topic, but Emma's got it.
No, I got it. No, so
we're good.
For word count, just so you know, I wrote 32,000 words. It was 113 pages.
I think ours is spaced different. I only have 90.
I'm gonna interrupt for a quick second.
Wait, just really quick. I also left off on chapter 19. Okay, continue.
Okay.
Quick interruption. For reference, the first Harry Potter book, so Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, is about 75k words, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit shorter than the first Harry Potter book, if that helps to...
Wait, how many?
It's about 75k, I believe.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And the funny thing is that I can sit down and read, like, a 50k story in, like, a couple hours. And I've done it in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to say, with Emma's thing about, like, looking at, like, a photo or something, I have so many, like, different Pinterest boards, which is just different things, just complete random things. Am I getting engaged anytime soon? No, have an engagement one, because, you know, you never know if a character's gonna get engaged in your story, and you have to come up with random ideas of how they announce it.
I find, for me, like, songs give me more inspiration.
Yeah.
I have a playlist that's called Oh Lore, and it's literally just songs that give me, like, vibes of characters, where it's like, I don't have a character for this song, but this song could, like, you could easily make a character out of it.
I would like to quickly cut in because I just want to compliment you, Spook. Spook makes really good playlists, just so you know.
Yeah, follow me on Spotify. It's Spookish with 2 Ks.
I think I'm very much more of a visual person. Like, I need to see things. So, like, if I ever want inspiration, the best place for me to go is an art museum. Like, if I go to an art museum, I could get so much inspiration by just staring at a painting, which is why I think I love museums so much. Because, like, I just love going in. I love looking at them, and it could just be, like, a portrait of a person, and I could make an entire backstory for that just by seeing how they're dressed, how they're sitting, how they're looking, like, either looking right at you or off in the distance. Just, I could base a whole story off of that.
I want to say, I really like how we have the 3 different types of learners here, or, like, how people, like, take in information. We have Spook with, listening?
Yeah, listening through music.
Emma's visual. And I have to touch. If I'm not doing something, I can't take in information. So, like, I'm gonna leak something that I do during the podcast. I play a game on my phone during the podcast, so I keep focused.
Yes.
If it makes you feel any better, right now I'm doing Duolingo.
The bird is not gonna hurt you.
I was actually going through my Google Docs and everything and pulling up some of those old short stories that I wrote. Some of the ones that I have.
Emma wrote this really cool short story. Okay, there was actually 2, so now I'm thinking about it. One of them was for our writing class.
Yes, which I can't find it. I cannot find it, but I can explain the plot and everything. I can explain the whole thing because I remember it.
Yeah, explain that one.
Yeah, but I don't have the story.
The other one that's really good is
the no sleep one.
You wrote it for the r/no fear thing.
I just found that one. That one I have.
Yeah, it's a Reddit thing with horror and like spooky stories.
r/no sleep. What the fuck?
Yep.
Yes, Emma's so good. I remember reading it. I was like, oh,
I love that subreddit. So basically, if you don't know r/no sleep, it's basically a subreddit where people write like these horror stories, like these short stories that are supposed to be like these people who don't sort of like, it's supposed to be like, oh, they're almost in the real world. So like it's the way they write and everything, it makes it sound like somebody has come onto the Reddit and they're being like, this thing is happening to me, I'm not sure what to do, I need advice. It's sort of like that. So instead of it just being like a regular story, it's like it's somebody who's like, I'm not sure what's happening, or like this thing is going on, or this thing happened in my life. So it's like, so it's just really, they're really interesting to read, and I've always found them really cool. And I remember at one point when I wrote this, I was absolutely obsessed with this subreddit. Like, I thought these stories were so cool. I was like, I really, really want to write one of these. So I did write one, and I did post it for a bit, and I think I eventually took it down. I don't remember why, but I still have the story here, and I do still like the story. I don't remember why I took it down. I feel like I just felt like it didn't fit, like, fully with the, like, no sleep subreddit and everything. Like, I felt like it just didn't fit in properly. So I was like, whatever, but I'll keep it as my own short story. And then the one...
I enjoyed it.
Yes. And the one that I had written for our writer's craft class, which, as Spook said, is a creative writing class that we had taken in our last year of high school.
It was the best class I've ever taken.
It was such a good class.
Shout out to our teacher.
Bro, he was great. He was great. But, so in the class, everyone had to pick a genre that they would study and write in throughout the semester, and then at the end of the semester...
I did steampunk.
At the end of the semester, we would have this big project and everything. I chose gothic horror because it's me. I like horror. I saw the genre list, and Spook can vouch, I was the first person to pick my genre, because he was like, you guys take your time, and if anyone knows what they want to do, my hand shot up. I was like, I want gothic horror, please. Put my name down for that one. Like, I wanted that one so bad. So I did that. And I studied, like, all these, like, gothic horror authors, you know, like Edgar Allan Poe, Mary Shelley, all these people. And then I had to write my own short story, sort of in that genre, using some of their tropes and whatever. And I wrote this story that was slightly based off of, if you guys, like, if you know the Disney movie from the 90s, Tower of Terror, that was based off the ride from Disney World. Yes. It was kind of based on that.
I don't think I know that one.
But yeah, the movie's not as well known because it was made, like, based on the ride. But anyways, it was a little bit based off of that. So basically, it was this urban explorer. There's this, like, abandoned hotel in his city that nobody ever wants to go into. So he, like, sneaks in, he breaks in, he wants to, like, just look around, see this place. And, you know, he gets in, and it's, you know, it's you know, a standard of, like, abandoned building. There's dust everywhere, things are kind of misplaced, but it almost looks like nobody's been inside for, like, decades, because nothing has been touched, nothing's been moved. And as he's going around, he finds this elevator in the back, and it's, like, an old, like, sort of like one of those, like, employees elevators, ones that, like, would be, like, a big industrial one. And he gets in and he just starts pressing buttons, being like, yeah, it's not gonna work. But when he presses it, it suddenly comes to life, and the door's shut, and it starts going up, and he's like, oh shit, what the hell? And
no.
So it goes up, and it stops at the 13th floor, which, if anyone knows about these superstitions or about how buildings are structured, most buildings don't have a 13th floor because 13 is, like, an unlucky number, so it'll either go, like, 12 to 14, or it'll go, like, 12A, 12B, 14, like, there's never a 13th floor. I don't know if this is, like, everywhere, and I know it's definitely an American thing, but it's, like, it
is everywhere,
but it's very much a superstition. So it stops on the 13th floor, and he's like, that's really weird, and the doors slide open, and suddenly it just slides open to this old, like, 1920s style, like, swinger party with, like, a ton of people in these full outfits, and there's this guy at the front of the elevator who's, like, the host of the party, who, like, greets him, and as soon as he steps off the elevator, his Urban Explorer clothes, his backpack, everything just disappears, and he's now in a suit. And he gets, like, stuck in this party, and he's, like, going around trying to figure out, like, why he's here, like, how all this happened. He's talking to people, and slowly things kind of keep getting more and more, like, creepy. Like, everyone just, like, will smile at him, but, like, there's just nothing behind their eyes, or, like, it's just, like, this very, like, fake niceness. Like, it's just, like, very odd. And he's like, okay, I think I'm gonna leave now. So he goes and gets on the elevator, and he presses the floor, like, the first floor again. He presses it goes all the way down, but when it opens, he's back at the party again.
So
what the hell? So every time he tries to, like, get off, it's basically like he just ends up back to the party, and the host of the party is like, well, why would you want to leave this party? Like, why would you want to go? It's a great party. And he's like, no, I need to go home. And like, as he's, like, trying to fight his way out of this, the host's eyes just completely go black, and he's just like, no, you're not going to be leaving this party anytime soon. And, like, that's the end of the story. That was the end of it. So, like, that was the story I had written for that class, and I really wish I still had it, and it's probably on my laptop or something. Like, I have to have it. I know I have to have it somewhere. It was a Google Doc. I can't find it. Like, I've looked through everything. I cannot find the story. But I really, really liked that story. It was definitely one of my favorites. It was one of my favorites I've written. And, like, just that class, I loved writing for that class. And I found some things that I did write for that class, but yeah, that was a good time.
That class inspired me to do?
What?
What?
It inspired me to write a fanfic.
That'd be true.
The thing is, though, is that, like, I wrote a Spider-Man fanfic, right? It was about Miles, because I rewatched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Yes!
I remember the fanfic. I remember it.
It's a really good fanfic.
Why did I know this before today?
You didn't know I wrote this? I'm sure I told. Okay.
You never told me about
Spook
this.
has definitely mentioned it. Spook has definitely mentioned it.
Clearly, it's when I'm not in the right mindset and having a mental
I could say
breakdown.
When Spook was giving us all invites to AO3, they definitely mentioned it.
Oh yeah, I was totally like, not in the right mindset.
AO3 account, read it.
Yeah.
Oh yes, after we recorded for 3 hours.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was not in the right mindset.
You're telling me you haven't read my Spider-Man fanfiction?
Shameful.
Wow, suddenly I gotta go. Wow.
But so with this story, it's so weird. So okay, first of all, not to brag or anything, but it has 525 kudos, which are just pretty much likes. That's pretty good. Anyways, the thing with this story is that I wrote it. I wrote it in July, I think. But I read it back, like, maybe a year after I posted it, and I was like, this story is literally, it was me venting, pretty much. Like, this was a coping mechanism, almost. Because I was, like, it was a really rough summer, and I was going through a lot of emotions, and, like, you know, I was moving to university and all that stuff, didn't know what I was doing. And I read it back, and I was like, wow, this was just me, like, talking through a character. And I think that's a really cool thing about writing, though.
Mm-hmm.
Is that most of the time you write and then you look back on it and you're like, oh, I just put like my part of my soul into this. Okay.
Yep. Don't
want anyone reading that.
Me, who has absolutely ruined characters' lives since I started writing.
Listen. If you're not destroying your character's life, is it really writing?
You're
exactly.
Right.
My favorite thing with writing is like figuring out what you want to do with your characters, and you're like, yes, you will die.
I want to say this right now.
People will get emotionally invested in you, and you will die.
I want to say this right now. If I ever get a therapist and I decide to look back on any of our podcast episodes, I am fine. I have nothing. I have no fanfic. What?
If my therapist looks back on this, please. I need help. That Spider-Man fanfic was way too personal.
Like, but it was a really good fanfic,
but
though.
Like
it was really good.
It was. But
the two
man, that was
different reactions.
I mean, wait, for the listeners, if you want to read it, my AO3 account's literally just the same username.
Same username everywhere. I would suggest if you like Miles Morales, I would suggest reading it.
Yes. Very good one. As for literally anything else I've ever written, I don't think I've published anything. Because I would highly encourage you to read any of my writing. However, I hate editing with a passion, so I haven't
You hate editing in general.
Yeah, I hate like anything. I just hate editing. But the very first time I did Nano was, what did I say, April? I think it was March, actually. I think Camp Nano was March.
Yeah,
one of those days.
It's April.
One of those months.
I think it's April.
April. Okay, it was April of 2018, and I have been sitting on that story since. I wrote the first draft, tried to write a second. Emma edited it. Edited it. But I only got up to like chapter 5, and I was like, ugh, I hate this. However, you know, between that time, I had DM'd an entire D&D campaign, and if you, dear listener, want to improve your writing skills, if you want to improve your writing skills, DM a D&D campaign. Get a bunch of friends, figure out D&D together, and just write a story for that, because it is one of the hardest things to do, because you have a bunch of people that you have to keep their story together and keep them all in the right place, and it really teaches you how the world works around your characters, and it's like, it's not your characters that are affecting the world, it's the world that's affecting your characters.
Yes.
That makes sense. And it also teaches you how to focus on all of your characters instead of just main character, and then your side characters are like, they have one personality trait and that's it. But yeah, best way to improve your writing, DM a D&D campaign.
As somebody who finished DMing a campaign just last year, I can vouch that is definitely a really good way to write. I had so much fun being a DM though. That was a fun time. I loved my campaign.
It also helps with teaching you how to pace properly, because like I found, like, I always have issues with the pacing of stories, but while I was DMing, I was like, oh, you know what, I'm like, I could probably make this part longer, or I could do this instead of this to make it to make the timing better. I mean, I wasn't able to apply it while we were doing the campaign, but like now going forward, I kind of know how to pace it better.
Want to say this, so I've been writing since I was like, I smell that no. Since I was like grade 3, it was a coping mechanism as was normal, totally. But I was always upset, especially in high school, when writing would it was just doing boring things, and I would just hand it in, and I'd be like, okay, back to my things. I'd finish the assignments in like 5 minutes and be like, here you go. Like, are you sure? I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for years. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like, I've been writing for a while. This is nothing.
I'm used to it. My favorite type of assignments, like throughout elementary school and even a bit in high school, especially in writer's craft, were the ones that like you just had to write a story.
Same.
Because I remember in grade 6 we had to write a story. I don't remember what for, but like my teacher was teaching us how you write a story and all this stuff, and I got so into mine. I actually left it at school and got so upset. Like, it was the last day, and I went home and I'm like, oh, my story.
My stuff.
Looking back on it, that story absolutely sucked, but like, oh, my story.
Going back to that r/no sleep story I wrote, I have it here. Do you guys?
Found it?
Yeah.
Read it.
I was saying, do you want me to read it? It's only a page and a half, so it's not super long. Do you guys want me to read
it? Yes. I'll hold on.
Okay.
And now sit back, grab some popcorn, and enjoy Emma reading her r/no sleep.
The title of it's called I Don't Know My Name, just so you know. I don't know my name, I don't know who I am, I'm not sure what has happened, but I just woke up in a small room and I know something is very wrong. It was like a hospital, but I know it wasn't a hospital. There was something off about this place, and even thinking about it scares me. The room was just a little bigger than a janitor's closet, and there were no windows, just the door with a small window peering out onto the hallway. The room was dark and gray from floor to ceiling. I woke up to find tubes and wires sticking out of my arms. There was a heart monitor connected to me, or what seemed like a heart monitor. I couldn't remember anything, but those wires hurt my arms, yet they left no bruises. I yanked them out, which hurt even more, and I climbed off the bed I was laying in. I stood by the door, looking out through the window to see if anyone was around. The hallway was empty, so I left the room. I didn't know where I was, but something in me knew something was wrong. A little voice in the back of my head told me I couldn't stay, and I wasn't going to. The building was huge, with winding corridors, white tile after white tile, gray walls, and everything looked almost exactly the same. Finding my way out had felt near impossible. I couldn't find a single window. Most doors were locked or led to nowhere. Everything I tried felt useless until I found an elevator. When I entered, I immediately pressed the G for the ground level. According to the screen showing the numbers, I was on the sub-18th floor. I had been completely underground. I hadn't seen a single person the entire time. I was running around looking for my way out, and when I reached the ground level, I found out why. All of the walls were soaked in blood, and more blood trailed down the hallway from the elevator and around the corner. Lights were hanging from the ceiling and flickering or entirely broken. Benches and plants had been flipped and broken, and a single body wearing a lab coat was laying on the ground at the end of the hall, torn up and murdered. I tried to re-enter the elevator and leave the floor, but the doors had shut and refused to open and let me back on. I smashed my finger against the button relentlessly, hoping that one of those hits would open the door. Nothing. All I could do was follow the trail that would surely lead to my death, so I did. I slowly walked down the hallway and turned the corner to find only one door, which was slightly ajar. There was some bloody handprints and another body in a lab coat in the corner next to the door. I inched past her, afraid she would jump at me, and opened the door, where I entered into a massacre in the front lobby. I couldn't tell the colors of the walls in here because there was so much blood. Bodies were everywhere, not a single one was alive. Then, I heard stomping coming towards me. As the stomping started, all of the mangled bodies seemed to vanish into thin air, clearing space in the lobby. I turned to see a large and disgusting creature. It smelled like rotting garbage left out in the sun, and it had to have been at least 7 feet tall. It was disturbing and seemed so angry. It came running towards me, and without even thinking, I ran at it too. It was almost like I had no control of my body. I jumped into the air and punched at it, doing my best to dodge its swipes at me. It was spitting some acidic liquid at me that burned like hell. I would scream out in pain or grunt when it hit me, but I just kept trying to fight it, until finally it grabbed me and lifted me into the air. It tossed me against the wall and I fell to the ground. Before I had time to stand up, it spat at me again and smashed my head against the wall. The pain was unbearable, and I began to phase in and out until it bashed my head one last time, and my body gave in to the pain and I was gone. I don't know my name, I don't know who I am, I'm not sure what has happened, but I just woke up in a small room, and I know something is very wrong, and my head is pounding. That's it. That was what I wrote.
All I remember when you explained, like, in depth what was happening to me, all I remember was that the person was in a video game.
Yeah. So yeah, this person.
And then you like picked out all the reasons why.
Yeah. So yeah. So the person who's narrating, they're the main character of the game, who's like obviously going through, and that monster is like one of the monsters you're supposed to fight. Obviously, they keep being killed by it, so they keep respawning back at this hospital bed, and every time they respawn back there, however they died last, that's where the pain is. So it died by its head their head basically getting smashed in, so now their head is pounding.
Emma.
Sometimes.
You said the height of the monster. And my brain went Gargamel. I don't know why.
I have
a piece of writing I would like to share.
I would love to hear it.
Yes, so it's a haiku.
Oh, is it the haiku? Is it what I think it is?
It is the one.
Yes. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
This came to me. I was laying in bed one night. This was like right at the beginning of Writer's Craft, so like the writing juices were flowing and all that stuff. Anyways, this came to me suddenly while I was trying to sleep. Anyways, Roomba has a knife. Roomba coming to get you. Fucking watch out, bitch.
I remember too, you literally read this out in our class too, and everyone was dying. It was so funny.
Our teacher was like, does anyone want to share their like haikus? Because we had to write haikus. And I was like, oh, I have a haiku. And he was like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, okay, first of all, it swears. Is that okay? And he's like, yeah, like, I literally don't care what kind of language you use, like, as long as it's not offensive or anything, but, like, literally don't care what language you use. Let's hear it. And I read it. Everyone was dying.
I honestly, I feel like he was such a chill teacher, but I really feel like he was not expecting that.
Not at all.
Sure, go ahead. Roomba has a knife.
Roomba coming to get you. Fucking watch out.
It was so good. When you first read that to me, I remember I was just like in tears because it was so funny. So just for our dear listeners, as Spook put it, yeah, we have not changed since high school.
No, not at all.
I wish I could have had Writer's Craft. I think was it only university? I think it was only university. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe.
because I wasn't able to
That's
take
a university
it.
level
Like, "I
class.
have to be a
We have university level or
I'm like, I don't want to go there.
I just tried to explain the difference between university and college courses, but apparently not.
University smart people, yeah.
College also smart people.
No.
College is also for smart people.
It is.
My
mom put it the best way is that university is like essays and theoretical, where college is like hands-on and like learning it physically. It's like everyone.
I will fight anyone who says college is for dumb people.
College is for smart people too. It's literally just a different type of learning. Like we were just talking about earlier, how the three of us all learn differently.
In my opinion, I'm going on a tangent here, but in my opinion, I think I would do better at college. And
so do I.
Not to like sound egotistic or anything, but I'm a pretty smart person.
Yeah, smart.
Smarter than you.
No, I know my ABCs and 2 5-1s.
5-1.
Those are just her favorite numbers.
Don't worry about it, listeners.
Anyways, back to the writing. So yeah, that r/no sleep story though that I wrote that the same time we were in our writer's craft class, because that whole class inspired me to write so much, and I did so much writing that semester because of that class. And I think it's so funny too, because originally I wasn't supposed to be in the class. I was supposed to take something else, and I decided I don't really know if that's for me. I'll go see if I can switch to anything else. And I went to guidance, and I was like, hey, I just don't like this one class. Can we switch it for next semester? And she's like, yeah, let's see what we have. And there was only a few options. And she's going through, and she's like, and then there's like writer's craft, which is like creative writing. But she's like, you probably don't want that one. And I stopped and I went, yes, I do. Why didn't you start with that? She's like, nobody ever wants that one. She's like, nobody ever wants that one. I'm like, I want that one. And I ended up fucking loving the class.
We got the r/no sleep and the haiku in the exact same semester.
Yeah, same semester, same time.
Literally. I wrote that haiku, and then my final piece that I wrote was this guy who time travels and kills important historical figures, but accidentally kills one of his ancestors and wipes himself out of existence.
I thought you were gonna say he fought a Roomba.
2020 story, by the way.
I thought you were gonna say he fought a Roomba.
Yes,
the haiku was actually about him.
You're wrapping this whole semester up.
Changing my plot. But yeah, I actually took my final writing piece, and I started making it, because it was only like 4 pages long, but I started making it into an actual story, and that's what I started writing for Nano of 2020. It went in a very different direction than I thought it was going to be. Like, it's a lot more lighthearted. Like, okay, my story is a lot more lighthearted than the short final writing piece that I did. And I'm honestly not upset about the direction that it went in.
Mm-hmm.
Story. Sometimes you just gotta, like, let go when you're writing. Like, you shouldn't have too many expectations going in. Like, if you walk into, or like, okay, you open your document and you're like, I'm going to write like the next Harry Potter or like the next Lord of the Rings. You're not gonna get anywhere.
How dare you?
No. Like, when you first open your document, you are like, and you start writing, you're not gonna write the next, like, you're not gonna write the next Harry Potter. Like, that's just simple fact. Your first draft is going to be the worst thing you've ever written in your life. But like, if you write it, if you write it just for yourself, and like, you don't care what you're really writing, like, it doesn't have to sound good, it's just something on the page, and you know what, I'm writing this just for me, I'm here for a good time, you'll be able to finish your story. Like, you can edit later, there's going to be a million more drafts that you're gonna do, but your first one's gonna suck, but you're gonna have a good time writing it. It's all that matters.
And as I've heard this a few times, it is better to finish what you're writing than to just stop because you don't like it. Because you can finish your writing and then you can go back and edit it 1,000 times. If you don't finish it though, you don't have a story.
These guys have such words of wisdom, and I'm here like.
Yes, I have lots of words of wisdoms for writing because I think about this a lot.
And because then here's me bullying myself.
Because listen, when I was younger, I was like, oh man, I really want to write, and like I would write a bit, and then I know I'd stop at like 10K words, maybe even less. And like I'd always be upset. I'm like, oh, it's not good, blah blah blah. And then I did Nano for the first time, where it's like, all right, I gotta write 1,667 words every single night. I don't care what this is. I don't care what this chapter's like. I just need this word count done so I can put it in to Nano and be done. Exactly. And then it helps me a lot, just like free up the idea of like, or like to get rid of the idea that every single word I have. Like, every single word that I put on this document has to be perfect.
Your daily word count, okay, no.
Okay. Yeah, I actually made a meme. Okay, I'll get back to my other thought. But I made a meme for last year. And it was the meme where it's like, it's X, like, it's this time, like, time for whatever. But I sent it to Jess, and it was, it's 11 p.m. Time for your daily word count. And there's yes, Nano.
Okay, you can have your word count.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, it's a good meme. I'll tweet it.
You should, please. I love the meme.
I don't remember what was my other thought.
I don't know. I took it away from you.
It's a good thought too.
While you're thinking about your thought,
I'm not gonna be able to remember it.
Well. So that story of mine that we were talking about, the one that I wrote like a shit ton and eventually kind of stopped writing it, I have it up here. Do you guys want to hear the opening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I remember writing this and thinking, like, this is kind of depressing. It's like, this is kind of depressing. I like it. Because, like, the story itself is kind of depressing, but that was just the vibe.
It's fine.
Let me put it this way. This story is based off of a news thing I saw. Or it was a true crime thing I had seen where this teenage girl had met this older guy online and he basically convinced her to unalive her parents. What? Because she had really, really terrible mom and a really, really terrible stepdad that was like abusing them. So that's what my story is slightly based off of, just to get the general sense. But, so here's the opening. So it says, my mom always told me our life would be better. We would never have to feel pain, but she lied. Not only to me, but to herself. No matter the decisions she made, everything kept getting worse. I always thought that maybe one day I'd be able to leave, find something safe for us. Anything would be better than living here. He makes it so hard. Hard to be happy, hard to think clearly, hard to feel emotions. Ever since he joined our home, if you could call it that, the only thing I've been able to feel is anger. I want to feel again. I want to know what it's like to be happy again. I want everything to stop feeling so dark. And that's the opening of that story. Very depressing, very sad. So that I wrote that when I was 17.
I love it!
You're going through some things.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I can say
any form of art is just like trauma dumping.
I can say at 17, this was grade 11, so I was going through some stuff that year.
But okay, in lighter, happier news, I remembered what I was going to say.
Great.
I was going to make fun of the spelling and like grammar mistakes that I made because I remember this was my second draft of my first story that I wrote. My first story, by the way, is called "The Act of Killing a King," so it was that story. And I sent this, like, I sent my edited version to Emma, and I was like, hey, can you go through this again? Tell me what I need to improve, what you like, etc., etc. And she left this mistake in, and she was like, I need you to read this carefully. And I looked at it, and it said, he walked him watch away. Yeah, like, you know, yeah, I can see why that's an issue.
I remember reading that. I remember reading that and being like, I could just fix this, but I want Spook to see what they wrote. I want them to see this. It was so funny.
It's funnier that way.
It was so funny.
The funniest thing is that you highlighted it, and I looked at it and went, I don't know what's wrong with this. And then I went, oh, I know what's wrong with this.
Why? Oh.
He walked too much away.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, you're gonna get moments like that where you're like, I have no idea what I was trying to say.
But that's why editing is a thing. You just have to keep writing, keep going. Don't worry about the spelling mistakes. Don't worry about how something sounds just right. And just keep going. And when
listen,
you're done,
guys,
you can go back and change whatever you need to change.
There are people who get paid to fix your mistakes.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. There are people that are literally people who are willing to help you fix your mistakes and make it the best story it can be. Like, do not be discouraged if you feel like your story is absolutely shit, because everyone's story starts out as absolute shit. Like, that's just how they are.
So.
Mine would
You will
never
get good
start
points,
like
though.
shit.
You will get good points in your story. Where you're like, I don't know how I wrote that, but like some sort of writing god possessed me because this is the best thing I've ever written in my life.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely true. Yeah, there will be points where like, and I find those two are the times that like really motivate me when I write something where I'm like, holy shit, like this is actually really, really good. I'm like, yeah, I am a good writer. I need to keep writing. Like, I just find those little moments of just that validation, because, as we talked about before, I thrive on validation. If I can validate myself, I'm like, yes, great, I'm a great writer, keep going.
Going back to my Nano 2020 story, when I was reading it the other month, so for context, my main character has a really big family. Like, I think he has like 10 siblings or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, you know, it was the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. I don't remember when that was. 1800s, I think. So every family had a big family. But anyways, so yeah, he has like 10 siblings or something like that. And the first part of the story starts off with like him as a little kid. And as I was reading, I'm like, I know who all of these characters are, even though, like, I don't really remember them. Like, I had a chart while writing to explain who all of his siblings were and, like, how, like, the age difference.
Chart?
I had a whole ass... Listen, man, that's 10 siblings! I need to know their age, their name, like, whether... So,
their age,
like,
their name, their favorite color?
Yeah. Like, I knew everything. My computer just turned off. Okay, there we go. But yeah, so I had like I had a chart and everything to help me remember who everyone was, but I'd forgotten all their names. All I knew was that he'd killed his brother, and that's it. But I couldn't remember their names or their ages. But yeah, but as I was reading, I was like, yeah, I wrote it so well that these characters aren't getting mixed up, and like I know who they all are. And at that moment, I was like, you know, I'm a pretty good writer. If I can, like, handle 10 siblings plus 2 parents and, like, all the other side characters that are in his life, yeah, I'm pretty good. Look at me go. Felt great to read it.
You know what?
Hell yeah.
You know what my favorite lines, or, like, my favorite thing about writing stories is I love when, like, I write a line or something, and my first thought is, like, you know... If I was writing, yeah, I was like, if I was writing, if this story was published, this is something that would get quoted on Tumblr. Like, this is gonna be fan art on Tumblr.
Give me a second, guys. I want to see how many siblings he has.
Oh
there goes Spook. Jess, would you like to talk about your story while we wait?
No, I do not.
Okay. Never mind. Sorry, I brought it up.
What did you bring up?
I love my story, the one that I wrote last year, but I jumped so often from, like, place to place, and I just
can't do that.
Got messy.
Is that like where you write one scene and then write another scene, and then you're like, I'll connect it later?
No,
because I can't do that. I need to.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I connected most of the things, but I never like stood in it. I never kept them in a place for that long. Mm-hmm. So that's what I was going to do. So my plan in October, which is Preptober, for the people who don't know Nano, it's Preptober, NaNoWriMo, and then Crying December. I don't remember what December is. Editing?
I think so.
But my plan last month was I was going to go through and I was gonna replot the whole novel. The whole 93 pages of this novel. I have a huge ass page with like questions to ask myself. I have notes and everything. I have like so many different things to go back and be like, okay, this is all the things I need to do. So I'm kind of just putting this book aside again until probably Camp Nano in August, because they do the camp in April and the camp in August, and then Nano in
July.
November. Is it July or is it August? Yeah, it's July. Yeah, it's July. But I kind of want to hold off and do that, but it's very messy. I do like the ships that I have in this book, though.
Anyways, he has 12 siblings.
God.
Jesus.
I was 2 off. So there's 13 kids. He's adopted, though, so... And listen, 1, 2... 3 of them are dead. That's just how life was back then, you know?
That's just how it be.
Sucks for them. Let's not talk about the one he murdered.
That one's just an outlier.
Yeah.
I went out. Can I read just this small part in this book?
Yes.
So I'm not gonna read this whole paragraph, but she like just snapped at the guy who she just met, who he's like this commander or something, or I don't know what his rank, I don't remember what rank he was in the army. In you know. So she just snapped at him because so basically she's a princess, blah blah blah. He's an army guy. And it just says, the taller male didn't speak. He just looked at me in shock as if he didn't expect what I was going to say to him. What? Don't have anything to say now? I questioned as I look over at him. And then it just goes into more description. And it's just her standing up to this guy who's being a complete dick. This is one of her possible love interests, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's very... But I love their little thing that they have, and I know I want to keep this, like their little love-hate relationship at the start. And I don't know, I just really like what they have in the book, especially on this page. And yeah, this is another thing with this book, with their development. I didn't really develop them. I kind of skipped because I just kind of, I think this is during the last day where, you know, I had to write these words. I never connected the development. So it just kind of jumped really quick. And I think that's one of the things that I was really upset about when I went back and rewrote and reread some of it. I'm excited to go back again one day.
I opened my first story and it's 50,287 words. Jeez. It's 120 pages long, and when I open this Word document, it takes a second for everything to load. Like, it takes maybe 10 seconds for everything to appear.
Yeah.
She's chunky.
Just imagine writing this, but on my laptop that chugs. It takes like a solid minute.
Open your story and it crashes.
Oh, wow, there goes my laptop. Sorry, Nano, I can't write today.
Sorry, it's just sorry, Nano, you're not going to be getting your word count today.
And here's my other slightly less loved story. I still love this story to my heart. It's a time traveling one. Lots of paradoxes. I explained to my dad the concept of this story, and like it took me like maybe 30 minutes to explain everything, so I'm not going to explain it here. But I was explaining to him in the car, and he was like, "You came up with this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is all my original thought." And he's like, "Oh my god."
Oh my...
But anyways, this one is 47,000 words. So
I just remembered.
And there's a cat named Peanut Butter in it.
I remember Peanut Butter!
Yes!
Oh, I love Peanut Butter!
Not to spoil anything, but Peanut Butter saves the day.
Literally, all I remember about Peanut Butter was just saying that if anything happens to Peanut Butter, I am not reading the story.
I would come into school, like, so I would write at night, and then I would come into school and be like, update on Peanut Butter, guys.
Literally be like, update Peanut Butter, and I'd be like, tell me everything. Is Peanut Butter okay?
Peanut Butter
How's
is
he doing? Is it good? Is he good? Is he getting fed well?
He's still alive, right?
Still alive. Don't worry. I have no plans to kill a cat.
Good. I didn't think you would, but also too, I was just like If anything happens to peanut butter, I swear to God.
Never kill a cat.
I know you wouldn't. Going back just for a second to talking about, like, fanfics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I will not be saying at all what this fanfic is, but I've been working on a fanfic. And it's, like, I had started this actually last year. And for a while, and I kind of, like, forgot about it for a while, and I had written, I think, about 6 or 7 chapters of it. And then I think I got stuck, and then I kind of, after a while, forgot about it, because, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't write for one night, and suddenly I've just forgotten, it's out of my head, it's gone. But anyways, I remembered it, and I went back, and I read through everything, and I was like, this actually wasn't that bad. So I started, like, reading, and I just started writing it again, and I went from 6 chapters to I'm now at chapter 15, and 70 pages. How many words is it? How many words was it last time I checked? It's 25,000 words.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that was from the last update I gave you, which was like 17,000. So I've just been working on this fanfiction. I will probably end up posting it, but again, it's going to be under a username that only my friends know, and it's not something that is going to be shared publicly, so good luck finding it.
I love the difference between you and me when it comes to fanfics. I've been reading fanfics for so long. Listen, guys, fanfiction is definitely, like, a valid form of writing. Some of the fanfics I've read are better than stories I've read.
Well, see, the thing...
there are some really good ones out there. But the difference between me and Emma is I'm like, yeah, guys, here's my Spider-Man fic. Go read it, leave a like and a comment, you know. And Emma's like, I will be posting this anonymously, and no one will know what my fanfic is.
And no one will know my name's
but
changed.
Also too,
nobody will ever
but also
figure
too,
it out.
I feel like you and I, we both written different fanfiction, and we like read different like, you definitely read a lot more than I do, but like your fanfiction was just sort of like different. What it was like different scenarios for Miles, right? Wasn't it? It was like different sort of scenes.
The whole idea is 5 times that Miles could have told his dad that he's Spider-Man, and then it was 5 times that he could have told his dad that he's Spider-Man and didn't, and then 1 time that he did. So it's the 5 plus 1 thing, which is very common. It's a common format for fanfics.
Yeah.
And it was just little scenes of, like, when he could have told his dad.
See, but, like, yeah, for you, that's just, like, a cool creative thing. For me, mine is a character insert with one of my, which I will say, if you know me and you know who my favorite fictional character is, you guys know who it is. You know who it is. But if you know me and you know who my favorite fictional character is, then you'll know what the fanfic is. But I am refusing to say anything.
I barely even know it. I know what fandom it is, and I know the character, but, like,
if you dig deep enough, you could probably figure it out. But I'm not telling you guys shit.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you guys found out I wrote fanfiction, like, what, last year?
Yeah, well,
I wasn't friends with
Jordan.
I knew about it in high school. I knew about it in high school because Jordan talked about your one fanfic that you stopped writing and how she was always mad at you because you wouldn't update. Because you wouldn't update it.
I'm like,
so I've known about it since at least senior year.
I don't know anything about this. I'll be completely honest with you.
Jordan told Justin
I knew you wrote stuff. But...
I got mad at her because she told Justin, and she wasn't. I know she didn't mean it in a mean way, but I was, like, very upset at the time, and she just, like, was talking to Justin about it, like, in a VC, and I'm like, guys, stop. And I don't know.
It's like, please talk about my story.
No, I was in a bad mood that day, and it just seemed like everything was pissing me off. I'm like, oh yeah, Jordan's saying good things. I'm just not in a good mood. But
the one thing with this fanfic too is when I started writing it last year, I remember being like, I am never telling my friends about this fanfic. Like, this is just a thing for me. No, I'm not telling them. I'm just writing this because I want to. And then this year I started working on it again, and I was like, this is actually a really good fanfic, and I know my friends all like this too, so I'm gonna tell all of them. I'm gonna tell them.
I've been reading fanfic for so long that I've just become immune to it. It's like,
you and I had that one night where we were up until, like, 3 or 4 in the morning, and you were just letting me just talk about it and talk about how much I was excited about writing, and, like,
I read fan fictions to you guys.
Yes.
Jess,
yes, you have.
I think it was to Jess. I read Passerine?
Yes.
Passerine, yes.
Passerine, thank you. Yeah, I read Passerine.
You read 2 chapters and then you fucking dipped.
Yeah, because I felt like you guys. Okay, I don't have a very good reading voice.
I was enjoying it, bitch.
I'll read it to you again. Let's pull it up right now. All right, I'm pulling it up.
All right, reading the entire fanfic of Passerine. If you like, the Dream SMP, you won't like this.
It is 76,375 words. All right, let's go.
I actually started reading that. I started reading that, and then I got to a certain point where I knew something was coming, and I literally just went, I can't read this. I was like, I can't do this.
No thanks.
This is gonna hurt. I can't read this. So I was just like, nah.
Guys,
I stopped.
It's tagged with major character death.
Yeah. And yeah, when I got to that chapter, and the first thing it said was major character death, and I was like, I can't do this today, bestie. I can't do this today.
I really wish though that sometimes you could put like tags and all that stuff on your actual writing. It would be so funny to see what mine would get. Major character death would be in every single one.
What?
Listen, if I don't kill a character, okay, if you ever read something from me and the character doesn't die, then it's not written by me. Someone has slapped my name onto their work.
Someone has just stolen characters.
Emma, did I kill a character in my D&D campaign?
Yes, I think so.
I almost killed a beloved character.
Yeah.
I had a character named Parrish.
And if anything had happened.
Sweet baby boy. But no, like, because I'm thinking of all my stories. And the one story I wrote, the time traveling one, not only did I kill the main character, but I brought him back to life. I killed them all, and then I brought them back, it's fine. And then one character actually did permanently die, but it's okay, his death saved it all.
Yeah. I
mean, I will always kill a character.
I mean, with my D&D campaign too, I killed someone who you were not happy about.
Yeah, you killed my character's boyfriend.
He got better though.
He got better. What do you mean he got better?
He died.
He killed
my
character. Listen, no, she killed my character's boyfriend. And my character was a necromancer, right? So like he was pissed off. But anyways, Emma killed my character's boyfriend, and I got so angry that I threw a cup at her.
Yeah, it left a mark on my forehead. It hit me in the forehead.
But I threw a cup. It was a plastic cup.
Yeah, it was just like one of those.
Your head, and it left a mark.
Yeah, there was a red mark on my forehead.
I felt bad.
You
just killed my boyfriend.
I was laughing so hard. I thought it was so funny. Like, yeah, it hurt, but like it was really funny. But like also too, I think what had happened too was that like the big bad evil guy was going after you, and when he realized he couldn't kill you, he was like, "All right, let me kill who's gonna hurt you the most."
No, I thought it was he had shot a spell, like an instant kill spell. And it was supposed to hit one person, but hit.
No, that was with Bellatrix. It was you had jumped out of the way and it hit her. It was because he used power. He used power word kill. He used power word kill on Warren. He literally looked at him and said one thing. I don't remember what it was, but he just disintegrated right in front of you, and you were like, "What the fuck?"
We talk about something else. I'm getting distressed again. I mean, we brought him back at the end.
You got married. And you got married.
Yeah, we got married. It's fine.
I like that my campaign brought that much emotion to you.
Listen, guys, I may kill every single one of my characters. Well, maybe not every single one of them, but I will kill a character with no remorse. But like when I'm reading something and my favorite character dies, I don't have words to describe the emotions that I go through because it's always my favorite character.
Warren was such a good character.
In my first story, of course, one of my main characters dies, but I had that planned. I had that planned from before I even started writing. Like I was making this character, and I was like, "Yeah, they're gonna die. Like their whole character is they're gonna die at the end." And then I became really attached to this character, and I was like, "Oh no, I have to kill them." No.
You're just like, "Is there any way around this? Is there any way around this?"
No, I killed them, and that death scene was so sad I cried myself. Oh my god. If I ever publish this and you guys read it, I'm sorry.
You're like, I don't have to do this, but I want to do this.
Oh yeah, the sadder I can make it, the better.
Oh
I
god.
just love killing. I love killing my kids.
I'm a little bit worried. Is this like a sign?
I'm not a murderer, right?
It's Spook's way of getting out their anger without having to take it out on
Literally.
real people.
So Emma's just informed us that we need to shut up.
We have been talking for a long time. But like at the same time, I don't want to stop talking because this is how much we love writing, and I feel like we should do a second episode where we talk more about our writing, like an update on our writing and stuff. Like we should definitely later on we do like an update. Maybe like in April or something on the next NaNoWriMo thing.
So my final thoughts, it's more of like advice for everyone, is just simply start writing. Like, it doesn't matter how bad it is or how good it is. If you just start writing, you'll figure it out along the way. And yeah, best thing you do, just do it.
Yeah,
How the fuck did we become a advice podcast? What the fuck?
Well, the one thing I want to say too.
My final thoughts, okay? Just start writing.
What I want to say too is if you have an idea, if you have anything, and you're like, I kind of want to start writing, I just don't know where to start. That's how everybody feels. Literally, just
even if it's the stupidest thing in the world, just write it.
Like
I wrote a haiku about a Roomba.
Like literally, if you have an idea and you're not sure where to start, one of the best things to do is just start writing out your thoughts. Literally, whatever is currently just in your head, just start writing stuff out, and eventually things will start to form. Like, this is something I sometimes do, where I'll just literally open a Google Docs, and just whatever's in my head, I'll start writing. I'll be like, I can't think of anything right. I write that down. I just keep going like that, because the one thing with my brain is it does not shut up. It does not stop. I constantly have ideas going. So, like, I just start writing, and eventually you can sort of pick things out of it, and you can use that as sort of, like, a way to help yourself start as well. And then you could turn things like that into a story. Like, there's so many ways you can start writing. You just have to be willing to do it. I feel like that's really it.
Don't start writing. I don't need more competition.
Stop
doing that thing. Don't do it. Please.
Well, listen, guys. Honestly, your writing is first and foremost just for you. Like no one has to see it.
Yes.
Simple as that. Like,
yeah, you don't have to choose it.
You want to share it.
No more competition, please.
No, right. Give her competition.
No!
Make her right. Make her right.
Make her right. No, but yeah, like you don't have to share it with anybody. If you do choose to share it with someone and they decide they tell you maybe they don't like it as much or something, or they have critiques, like that's their opinion. It's your story. As long as you're happy with it, that's yours.
Punch them in the face and then say no. Wait, no, do not say that. Don't. That's bad. No. Don't punch them in the face.
Anyways.
Okay, I saved it, guys.
I'm gonna go write, I think.
Yeah, I think
read my stories
I
because this has made me want to write and read my writing.
I have to admit something. The actual reason I said that I wanted this topic to be writing was because I knew if I talked about it, it would make me want to write my fanfic more, and now I want to write my fanfic.
I have a question, even though we're not... This can stay in. People of the podcast, you guys can't see this, but we're gonna be in this exact same VC writing, and you're not gonna be able to see anything.
Yep.
Suck it, bitches!
We love you, dear listeners.
And cut!
Thank you for listening to the Burnout Kids podcast. If you are interested in following any of us, you can follow me, Emma, at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at stopit_Emma, or you can follow my Twitch and YouTube at stopit_Emma. If you want to follow Jess, she has a Twitter at @tothemoon_Jess, or a TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube at @tothemoon_Jessie, spelled with an IE. If you're interested in following Spook, you can follow them on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, all at Spookish with 2 Ks. And if you're interested in following our podcast socials, we have a Twitter and a Tumblr at Burnout Kids Cast, and an Instagram and TikTok at Burnout Kids Podcast. For our audio listeners, we have a YouTube channel called the Burnout Kids Podcast. For YouTube watchers that want to listen on the go, we have a Spotify and Apple Podcast and Google Podcasts. We release new episodes every other Saturday, so be sure to stop by for another episode with your local Burnout Kids. Bye!